families are making decisions. They're making decisions about what their costs look like. They're making decisions about what is feasible for them. And if you're really, as a business, if you're really looking to retain employees a certain way or provide a certain culture, then examining a variety of different options. And I think that childcare is one of those.
Hi, I'm Jeff Holden. Welcome to the Nonprofit Podcast Network. Our purpose and passion is to highlight a nonprofit organization in each weekly episode, giving that organization an opportunity to tell their story in their words to better inform and educate the respective communities they serve, as well as provide one more tool for them to share their message to constituents and donors. Our goal is to help build stronger communities through shared voices and to both encourage and support the growth of local nonprofit organizations through podcasting. Thanks to our founding partners for their foresight in helping us transform the way conversations start. CapTrust, fiduciary advice for endowments and foundations. Runyon Saltzman Incorporated, RSE, marketing, advertising, and public relations creating integrated communications committed to improving lives. And Western Health Advantage, a full-service healthcare plan for individuals, employer groups, and families. Before the episode begins, I want to take a minute to share that we now have a website where you can sign up to get our weekly email updates on the latest episodes, transcripts to prior episodes, and see what else we have going on. Please be sure to register so you never miss an episode or any other important information we may have to share in the nonprofit space. You can find us now at nonprofpod.com. That's nonprofpod.com. You'll also notice on the website a microphone in the lower right-hand corner. By clicking on it, you'll be able to leave me voicemail messages, maybe a question you'd like me to ask our guests, or just a comment on the program. I may even play your message in an upcoming episode. I look forward to more engagement with you as we continue to grow and better serve our nonprofit community. Thanks. Strong, local, big businesses around town tend to get attention. When they serve a need that actually creates a workforce, provides for parents to be able to go to work because they don't have to worry about childcare, or supports the workplace with the necessary resources to then help the employee with childcare, that's an organization we all have right on the tip of our tongues. Of course we know who does that. Or do we? We're going to hear from the CEO of an organization that is determined to become a household name for employers and employees with children, as that is who they serve. And they're big. Hundreds of employees, over $100 million budget. Yes, you heard me right. And they serve all of Sacramento County. The conversation today with Adonai Mack is going to open your eyes. If you're an employer with a fair number of employees, you need to be aware of child action. If you're a parent struggling with childcare, you need to be aware of child action. If you provide childcare independently or at the workplace, you need to be aware of child action. And if you know people struggling to find childcare, needing support with childcare, needing childcare in order to work but unable to afford it, you need to be aware of child action to share what it is they do that can allow a parent the ability to get to work and not end up paying as much in childcare as they are in earning. Childcare is a huge issue in the workplace, and child action needs to be known. And that's exactly what we're helping do in this episode. Adonai Mack, welcome to the Nonprofit Podcast Network.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it. It's wonderful to be here.
We are going to have an interesting conversation today, I promise.
We definitely will.
So you're a self-professed policy wonk. You went from legislative advocate for education advocacy programs into running a very large nonprofit agency. How did that happen first? And then secondly, why child action?
Well, I would say this is, I've worked in education policy for a long time. I think that maybe about 15 years ago, maybe just under that, because I'm 53 now, so it's probably in my 40s.
Oh my.
In my 40s, I was doing some legislative work for the Association of California School Administrators. And what I began to realize was I really wanted to lead something. I wanted to be the leader. I wanted to be the boss. I wanted to make decisions. And I think that I kind of grew from being a lobbyist on a regular basis to more senior level positions. I had opportunities to lead political work, right? So I was a director of a political action committee, and I had my own staff. And so I was able to lead some of that work and lead work for a membership association. I was able to do some federal advocacy. Again, I had at least one or two employees that I worked with. And then I did some equity work, and I was able to lead, maybe it wasn't staff as much, but it was certainly members along a path of equity and deliver certain professional development and create programs. And I just knew through all of that experience, sitting in a cabinet position, watching how my executive directors operated, I think that I just realized, man, I can do this. Not only can I do it, I want to do it. And I began to really develop sort of my perspective about what it meant to be a leader, what it meant to support employees. And I was looking for a chance. And I have to give it to, I was in a leadership program in Sacramento that's called the Nehemiah Emerging Leaders Program.
NELP.
Yeah, NELP.
Very
exactly.
familiar.
And for NELP, it just built a community for me, right? A community of other leaders, folks who are in different positions, made a lot of different friendships. And that's what really brought me to Child Action. Two of my colleagues, I think they actually called me about something else, but they decided to ask me the question anyway. Child Action was looking for a new either executive director or CEO. And two of my colleagues called me and were like, hey, I think initially they were thinking, hey, do you think this other person would be interested? And then they asked me if I might be interested. And I basically only had maybe a couple of requirements that I needed to check out. One, I wasn't sure how big the organization was at the time. And so
could be a little intimidating. It's a big organization.
Yeah. And this is also part of everything I think about is that I wasn't trying to make a lateral move financially. Why would I take on more responsibility if I'm just going to be paid the same salary? Mm-hmm. That was part of it. And so that was certainly something I was thinking about. And then first and foremost, actually, how'd my wife think about it? Mm-hmm. And that was a conversation I needed to have. And that was probably 2 years ago, actually, because they called me during the holidays in December. And I went to my wife and I said, what do you think? Like, do you think will this work for us? And over the holidays, we talked about it. And so come January, I called my friends back and I was like, okay, I'm interested. Like, I'll throw my hat in the mix. I'll send all my stuff into the recruiter, and then we'll just see what happens and goes from there. And that's kind of how I got into it. It's kind of like how I get into everything. It's someone asks me a question, I kind of fall into it. I fell into my career because someone asked me to come work for Governor Gray Davis, and I was just like, yeah, I could do that, I guess. And next thing you know, I'm lobbying for 20 years. Uh-huh. And that's kind of how this came is I had friends reach out to me. They saw something in me that they thought was worthwhile of investing in, and I leaped at the opportunity.
Well, and you've been so involved in education and advocacy programs for children anyhow, so you've got this background from the policy side of things.
Right.
Really, it's just the business side of things and implementing that into an actionable space, which you wanted to do. You wanted something you could control.
Yeah,
you could really get your arms and head around it.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I was looking at, I'll be real honest, like maybe budgets and financial statements probably aren't my biggest strong suit, but it wasn't like I was unfamiliar. I mean, if you handle a budget that's small,
just add a
you
zero.
can kind of figure it out, right? You can just add some zeros, add a couple more columns in the spreadsheet. It's a different programs. You can kind of figure it out, I think.
Yeah.
And I think, too, from a leadership standpoint, I just always wanted to build a team. I wanted to build a team. I'm really always interested in smart and talented people. And I think that when you really hire passionate, smart, intelligent individuals, you can get a lot done. Now, I'll say it's a challenge to manage all those folks. But it's what I wanted to do. I mean, I just really looked at it from the standpoint of, Let me be the decision maker. It's nothing I was ever afraid of. I've seen the mistakes that other leaders have made, that I've disagreed with their decisions. And I have people who disagree with me as well. But I have a very specific approach to what it means to lead a company, what it means to build culture a certain way, how I want us to serve families. Like, it's very specific how I want to do that and how I want to grow our company. And I think that the team that I've built is getting on board with that. The employees are starting to get on board with that. And hopefully, we'll see some really super extreme and exciting success in the future.
So let's talk about what that is all tied to, which is child action.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what child action is, because if you're aware, you're aware. You use it. It's a great resource.
Right.
If you are not, and you may be a parent, you're not.
Right.
It's, I've been in town for 35 years, didn't know anything about child action, and here it is, this massive organization serving so many in the community. So walk us through the services.
Yeah, certainly. The best way to explain child action is that we are the contractors for childcare in the entire county of Sacramento. And so what that looks like is families that meet certain qualifications, or individuals who have children who meet certain qualifications, we help you pay for childcare. And I'll kind of talk about what those qualifications are in a minute. We help you pay for childcare. The other side of things is we will help you find childcare. So regardless of your income, we'll help you find childcare depending on whatever requirements that you're looking for and where in the county you're looking for childcare. We'll help you find that. 2, we help people become providers of childcare. You could be a center that's looking to locate in a building or open up a standalone building, and we help you with that. We help you get licensed, help you health and safety issues. We've done feasibility studies in the past, so we do that. If you're in a home, we help you get licensed and pass all your health and safety requirements as well. And then also we have something that's called family, friend, and neighbor. And that's usually exactly what it sounds like. It means that you're a grandparent, you're an aunt of someone who qualifies for our program. And instead of trying to go into a family child care home, you're just going to take care of a relative. And we help you do that as well. And then I think we also do a lot of what I call professional development and training for child care providers in order for them to have the type of quality environment that can help children grow. And so we do a lot of work around that as well.
That's a full 360. You start with the orientation of the service, where child care can be found. So I'm a parent looking, I need to know where to go. Where can I find someplace there, child action?
Right.
Oh, shoot, it's expensive. I have to pay for it. We got you there, too. We can support that.
Exactly.
And then in my neighborhood, oh, geez, there's nobody. Well, there is somebody. They're looking. We're helping them establish a center.
Right.
So you are the entire child care circle.
Yeah, we do.
Orientation to performance.
Yes.
All the way around.
That's exactly what we do. It's touching the families in a variety of different ways. It's giving them the opportunity to find someone that can care for their children, that will keep them safe, help them develop as children, and build that level of trust that's necessary for anyone to watch a child.
Tell me about the qualifications. How does somebody fit the criteria that you've got to be able to use the service?
So in general, what that looks like is if your income is below 85% of the state median income, then you qualify. And then there's a whole host of other other qualifications that'll
need-based.
Yeah.
Situation.
So it's things like if you're involved in CPS, for example, you can be eligible for our program. If you get current aid from another program, which I think it's called categorical eligibility. So maybe you receive cash aid, Medi-Cal, CalFresh, Head Start, WIC.
Is that an automatic qualification?
Automatic qualification.
Oh, wow.
Now, if you can demonstrate that you receive that, we don't even go through anything else. You're just automatically into our program. If you're homeless, you're automatically in our program as well. But there's also, we only serve children. So if you have the children that you have, we only serve them up to 13. So birth to 13 is our range. And so that's sort of the rules that we have to follow. And then also you have to reside in Sacramento County. And that's sort of the other piece to it. So our company, there's similar companies to us throughout the entire state, very few cross-county boundaries. And so right now, Child Action is the company that serves all of Sacramento County. So we don't go into West Sac because that's in Yolo County. We don't go into Roseville, that's in Placer County. We don't go to El Dorado because that's in El Dorado County.
Well, we're the highest density county of all. We have the most population.
We do.
And we have, I would imagine, the greatest need, just by virtue of the size of the county.
Yeah, I would say we do have a huge need in our county. I wouldn't discount some of the other counties that surround us. I think that they probably have just as much need, to tell you the truth.
Yeah,
especially in like Yolo County.
Too. It should be volume.
Yeah, like we're the largest.
Number of people.
Yeah, we're the largest in Northern California, essentially. Yes. And matter of fact, because of how we're situated and the size of Sacramento, it also being the capital, right? We actually support some of the other counties around us in terms of we've developed a program that a lot of other counties use to manage their cases for child care.
How many families do you serve on average, if you were just...
So I actually don't know the number of families. I know the number of children.
Oh, that's probably a better answer, yes.
Yeah. So right now we serve about 15,000 children. Wow. It's between 15 and 13,000, give or take. I think that oftentimes we have families that come off of our...
Sure, they either age out.
Yeah, they age out or they move, right?
Or even improve their situation.
Right. They improve their situation so they're no longer eligible. Mm-hmm. So we have about 15,000 children that we serve. I think we serve just under 3,000 providers.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to say it's either 2,300 or it's 2,500 or somewhere around that.
That's a lot of people all the way around in every way, shape, and form.
Yeah. It is a lot, and so I'm chuckling because we serve a lot, and I probably drive my team crazy because I always tell them, I was like, hey, we're doing a great job, but there's about 275,000 children between birth and 13, right? And while we're doing an excellent job, we can get out there and do some more.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's still families that need us. You see it every Thanksgiving and every December when the holidays come around and people are thinking about giving, and like I shop at Sprouts a lot, so I see the bags where you're giving families, you're buying a meal for a family. There's still families that need us and need our help. And so really it's about us reaching out to them and trying to find a way that we can help them.
Yeah, and part of that is the awareness that we started with.
Right.
Who are some of the collaborators that you work with? Obviously the state is your biggest resource, but who else do you touch in the community, tentacles that you get out to make people aware that the service exists?
It kind of depends on... I mean, it kind of varies, actually, I guess. It varies a lot. So I think that we work with resource centers every once in a while, depending on what events that they may be having. Mm-hmm. We work with the city of Sacramento a lot, actually. We've been working with them on infant and toddler care. We also have several different coalitions that we work with some are based on a city-wide initiative, so Measure L, and so we're part of a child care task force. Mm-hmm. We work with a county-wide task force on child care that includes like First Five Sacramento,
sure,
who's probably one of our greatest partners.
I can imagine.
First Five Sacramento, excellent collaboration between them. Sacramento County Office of Education, we work really closely with them. Matter of fact, we're trying to build that a little bit more because we enjoy working with them. They do a lot of good work for us. The County of Sacramento, and so a lot of different departments within the County of Sacramento. We have a really interesting program with CPS. CPS is doing some really great work changing their mindset about how to be preventative versus punitive. And so we're doing some work with them. We participate on something called the Prevention Council. And so some of that work has generated the relationship that we have with CPS because they have some priority zip codes which are focusing on Black families in Sacramento County. And so we do a lot of work with CPS and making sure that the families that they're identifying in the Black community, we're helping them find care, right? And so if there's a family that for some reason is involved in CPS, then we have that connection to be able to work with them to make sure that their children are taken care of.
Well, I know before we started the actual conversation, we were even talking about the opportunities that still exist to get into the community for awareness.
Yeah.
Sac State with the variety of programs that they've gotten, and students who are parents, and you can't go to school if you're worried about child care.
Jeff, I mean, like, as we were talking, like, my stomach actually, like, I get butterflies about the opportunities that exist. We have so many that my team and I, sometimes I'm like, okay, look, I get it. We see this, let's just wait. Like, we can't get to everything all at once.
Prioritize, right?
We have to prioritize. So it's things like Sac State, their early childhood development program, Los Rios community colleges. They have a wonderful workforce program and early childhood development. Matter of fact, that's where my mom did some work there when she was at Head Start. Workforce development stuff, right, with either Los Rios or SETA. We can work with them as well.
So we're pushing this stuff out through the program right now. They're going to hear this and come out to you. And then we just keep going. We talked about the food banks and the need
food
there.
Banks,
We see it in line. You know, it's like those people, if we can get them jobs, what would that look like? Or better jobs?
Our businesses community, I mean, there is opportunity after opportunity after opportunity, not to mention all of the school districts, right? We haven't even scratched the surface of what it means to work with school districts or with all the 7 cities in the county of Sacramento. We right now do work with the city of Sacramento, but I'm in Rancho Cordova. We're working on doing something with the city of Rancho Cordova. We'd love to reach out to Galt, Isleton, Folsom, Elk Grove, Citrus Heights. Like, we're really interested in working with the cities and how they want to help families, because that's where we're strong at. We can help families, and I think there's tons of possibility.
We'll be back with more stories and ways to take advantage of the incredible services of Child Action right after these few messages from the businesses who care deeply about supporting the nonprofit community. I was in the media business for over 35 years and had the great privilege of working with Runyon Saltzman, RSE, Marketing, Advertising, and Public Relations. We collaborated on many different campaigns, but their commitment to the nonprofit sector hasn't changed since their founder, Gene Runyon, started the agency. Over many years and many campaigns, Runyon Saltzman has been committed to improving lives by tackling California's most challenging issues. Guided by research-informed strategies and insightful, creative solutions, RSE develops innovative communications campaigns that raise awareness, educate, and reduce stigma in diverse communities throughout our state and beyond. To learn more about RSE, visit rs-e.com.
Hello, this is Scott Thomas with Cap Trust in our Sacramento office. I specialize in working with local nonprofits and associations. Annually, we survey private and public nonprofit organizations across the country to better understand challenges they see in today's environment. In our more recent survey, we heard concerns about proper board governance, mission-aligned investment, and how to implement alternative investments. If you would like a copy of the survey or to discuss your organization, look me up, Scott Thomas at captrust.com.
I'm thrilled to have Western Health Advantage partnering with us as they do so much to support so many nonprofit agencies in our community. As a truly local health plan, you'll find individual and family options, employer options, plans for CalPERS and Medicare Advantage. From medical services to pharmacy, health and wellness support, as well as behavioral health care, Western Health Advantage has a plan that fits what you need. As an employer, for profit or nonprofit business, individual or family, you can find more at westernhealth.com. And we're going to get to the business side in just a minute, but before we do, let's talk about the funding. How is the agency funded?
Yeah, so we have the majority of our funding comes from the state. So we have, I'd say maybe 3 or 4 basic contracts with the state of California through the Department of Social Services. We handle the CalWORK Stage 2 and 3 childcare. We also handle the alternative payment program. That's our voucher system to help pay for childcare. We also have a contract for resource and referrals that also comes from the state. Those are sort of our 4 main contracts that pay us most of the resources that we use in order to administer the program.
So more than anything, it's a fee-for-service agency where the state pays, you provide.
Yeah,
And
That's actually a good explanation of it. Yeah,
it's a business.
Yeah, it is a
Which
business.
so many people get confused. Well, it's a nonprofit. No, that's a business.
No, we
It's
are a business.
A business.
Yeah. No, I have employees, and I got to pay benefits, and I got to make sure our own employees are taken care of.
You got contracts to worry about, fulfillment. Yeah.
And then we have, so with local government, I would say that we have, between local government and for example, like Opening Doors as well, they provide resources to us. Our local government contracts, you must have like 20, maybe 25.
Sure.
I kind of lose track, actually.
With more to come if you start to get the cities oriented the way you would like.
Yep. That's really where I think we're headed is, and we can talk about this as well later, is, look, childcare is expensive, right? And in order for it to be affordable, in order for us to serve every single family, like, we're not going to do it only with our state contract.
Right.
Like, it's just an impossibility. It's not even plausible that the state is going to provide the resources that we need to serve all the families in our county. And if that's the case, then it's going to take work from local government. It's going to take an investment from business. It just is. Like, there's just no way around it.
And you're going right where we need to go. But give me one more question, because I want people to understand the size of this organization and the opportunity they've got if they knew what the services are. It's almost $150 million budget.
That's correct.
That goes back into the community for child care services, whether it's paying for the child care or supporting the process to become a child care provider.
Correct.
So that's a lot of money.
Yeah. We spend, so our budget in general is right around $150 million, and I'd probably say anywhere between 85, maybe 90% of that goes back into Sacramento County, right? Because we're either paying for child care for families, or we're paying providers to become child care providers.
Yeah.
Or we're paying, we're providing stipends to them in some way to improve their business model or to improve the environment in which they provide for children. So,
which is important. The safety of those those child care centers is really significant. You make sure that they are what they need to be per state regulation.
Yes, exactly. I mean, we're making sure that they follow all the licensing rules.
To the point of, well, I can just go to Craigslist and find somebody for my daycare, and it's just right down the street.
Yeah.
And the answer is yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
But why?
It's not that we would suggest that.
Correct. Why would you not do it through an organization that vets and ensures that everything's the way it should be?
Yeah, we have a really strong relationship with the state community licensing department, and we work with anyone who wants to become a child provider to help them get licensed. It's not like it's an easy task. I mean, you do have to follow certain rules and certain regulations, but we do help you do that. And matter of fact, we help it regardless of what language you speak. We help you. It doesn't matter. You could be speaking Farsi or Mandarin or Cantonese or Vietnamese or Russian.
Which is just another layer of challenge that you've got.
Don't get me started. My staff complain to me all the time about forms not being in the right language. How do we translate forms? The costs around all of that. Hiring outside consultants to help us with, there's so many languages spoken in Sacramento County. I think that sometimes we kind of forget that we're truly a very diverse county. And, our strategies are always around, like, how do we serve all the different people, right? That's why my staff is so diverse.
And speaking of your staff, how many of them are? Ish?
I think it's somewhere around 230, 250. We did just hire some staff this week, and so that number's probably creeping up a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's funny, too, because I'm trying to expand our office space, and it's taken kind of a while for us to get that done. And so the leadership in my leadership team are like, Adonai, hurry up and get this lease done, because I got more people coming.
Yeah, right. Well, and the good news is that means more people are using the service.
Yeah.
Which is what the whole objective is. Because if more people are using the service, it's likely that more people are able to go to work.
Yep.
And so let's bring that now around to the business side of things, because it's our community at large that benefits because more people are working, more people are contributing.
Right.
They're benefiting in an employment situation. They're able to actually work. We don't have that higher unemployment. And businesses are able to find people to do the jobs they need to get done.
Yeah, exactly.
And we know even today, there's still a shortage of people to do all the work that needs to be done. There's people still looking for people.
Right.
And
Right. Jeff, you probably have seen some of the data that I see too around the economics of our county and what it looks like to employ individuals in our county, and then some of the narrative as well. Since the pandemic, businesses want folks to come back in the office.
yes,
Right? They want them in their offices. You hear about sort of like our downtown sector where there's a lot of empty office buildings. That includes a lot of state offices, right? But folks aren't going to come in if their kids aren't taken care of.
right.
Like, they'll just figure it out themselves. And that's really where, to some extent, that's where the business community's investment can come from. I think you have an inherent interest in looking at how people's children are taken care of. It's no longer a personal issue because it can actually drive the retention rate at your companies. If you're providing, just as an example, if you're providing a benefit, for example, like you're actually helping people pay for care the same way you help them pay for medical benefits or insurance in some way, if you provided something that was around providing for childcare, that's something that is attractive to employees.
Would I be correct in assuming that an employer could actually set up a child care center in their facility
Yeah.
that is sanctioned by you?
Yeah, they could. I know that there's been a couple of companies that I know of that I've heard about that before. I think SMUD may have done that in the past.
Mm-hmm. But what a way to go.
Yeah, to me, that's probably a benefit that maybe companies don't think about as much. That would go a long way to ensuring that employees are, one, coming into their office. That's probably one aspect of it. But also likely changes culture, employee satisfaction, providing a benefit like that where, I used to work at the Department of Education, and when my son was born, we were looking at the child care that was downstairs in the building. On those long days where it's a tough day and you're maybe having some bad luck in the Capitol, like there's nothing better than going downstairs and playing with my son.
Yeah,
right?
What a benefit,
it's just,
right?
yeah, it's just a benefit. I think that there's a level of happiness and joy that can come from you spending time with your child that, maybe there's no scientific evidence to that, but I'm pretty sure that you're going to return back to work feeling pretty good.
I don't think we need scientific. Common sense tells us that's a good,
right,
that's a
right,
good one.
Right. And I just think that you look at opportunities like that, and I think it's something that businesses can really consider and invest in as a way to improve their culture and improve employee satisfaction.
How do you think we can better help business and community leaders understand the opportunity and the ability they have to help solve the child care crisis?
I think part of that is looking at it from a collaborative standpoint. I think it's also just looking at maybe even their own metrics, their own data around employment. I think it's kind of a combination of those things, of recognizing that families are making decisions. They're making decisions about what their costs look like. They're making decisions about what is feasible for them. And if you're really, as a business, if you're really looking to retain employees a certain way or provide a certain culture, then examining a variety of different options. And I think that childcare is one of those.
Mm-hmm.
I think like it's either, maybe helping pay for a stipend, or it's helping employees find care, right? That's where collaboration comes in with us, right? Maybe what the collaboration looks like or partnership looks like is you're working with Child Action to help your employees find quality childcare. It could be something like that. It could be that you're thinking about a benefit for your employees that's helping them pay for childcare, like a portion of the cost. It could be something like that. And again, you're collaborating with Child Action. It's what we do. We're good at it. We can manage programs like that. And then it's, again, putting something on in your building or in your office location. I think it's really looking at it from the standpoint of, if a business wants to look at our entire economy as sort of as their role in the economy, then, what pieces can they do that actually helps drive economic engines, right? Mm-hmm. And people working and going to work and being employed helps drive that.
And
I
so
think
many
that's sort of what
times,
the case is.
and we hear so many times, well, I can go to work, but the child care will offset the income.
Right.
The cost of the child care offsets any benefit I get from the income.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I might as well not go to work.
Yeah.
And that's in every household. That
It
decision
is.
has to be made. And it's certainly exacerbated in some of the lower income situations, underserved communities. And then somebody's got to drive to get to where they have to go. Now you have the cost of gas, and it just becomes unwieldy. You can't do it.
That's
So-
it. It's the affordability issue is something that I think in general our society hasn't done a good job at trying to figure out. You know, our state provides amount of resources, but those resources aren't cost based. They're not based on how much it actually costs to provide care. I think back to when my son was, you know, between the time he was born and 5 years old, and you know, I was blessed enough to have my parents around. They lived in Davis, so it was easy for me to drop my son off. But like when he started preschool, I was going, wait,
Who's going to...
125 a day?
Right.
Right? Like you start looking at the cost and you're going, no, this is ridiculous.
Right.
And I think that since the system in and of itself hasn't figured out, you know, how are we going to provide a rate that's a cost-based approach to care, then we have to look at other ways. I mean, me as a company, I have to look at other ways to try to attack the issue of affordability. And I don't know if there's a lot of answers for it right now. I just think that, you know, part of me was thinking, hey, if we could flood the market with quality childcare, then the economics say that, you know, the cost will go down, right? But it's finding the people to do that.
Right.
Like, if we could provide, you know, twice the amount of spaces for care, then maybe there's competition in terms of, I mean, that's just economic theory, right? Like maybe there's competition in terms of space, and then prices equalize a little bit.
And then maybe lean on your legislative side a little bit to say, hey, guys, we got to back off some of this stuff. Some of it's
Right.
it's impractical. And I don't know that for a fact, but I'm just assuming,
Right.
like every business, we all look and go, do we really need to do that?
Right.
You know,
right.
that takes time and energy, in some cases
Right.
money.
Yeah.
But you know, certainly in the security and safety of our children, we want everything to be
Exactly.
as it needs to be.
Right.
This is the fun question. So, Adonai, no budget, sky's the limit. What would child
man.
action look like?
Oh, man. Let's see, to answer that question, let me start with the company in and of itself before I talk about how we serve folks. So I think as a company, what would happen is we'd probably have offices all over the county. Like right now, we just have one office in Rancho Cordova. I think I'd have offices in Del Paso Heights, Natomas, Citrus Heights, South Sacramento, Elk Grove, and Galt, right? Like that's probably where I'd end up.
Ease of access.
Ease of access. I think that'd be first and foremost. I think next we would create some methodology or some process to serve every single child between birth and 13. I don't know exactly what that would look like, but we would have a way to do that. Whether that means that we enrolled every single child in quality child care, we would find some way to do that. We would just enroll every single child. I mean, what would happen is we would know you when you were pregnant. Right? Like the relationship that we would have with the hospitals, the pediatric departments, that relationship would be so solid that if you needed care for your child as soon as they were born, you'd have it.
We got you.
We got you. We've already vetted it. You've already vetted it. Your child could be born. You could have maternity leave for your 6 to 8 months, and then as soon as you go back to work, we got a place for your child. I think the other piece would be that we would have multiple child development centers that were world class. And what I mean by that is we would be on the forefront of brain development, early childhood development, using technology a certain way, improving literacy for every single child. We'd have multiple of those, like partnership between Sac State, UC Davis, the Mind Institute. Like we would have something like that in multiple areas of our county. I think the next piece would be we would have like such a strong apprenticeship program that every single child care provider would have a streamline of individuals knocking on their door for work.
So they're sustainable. You don't have to worry
Yeah.
about it going down, and now you have
Nope.
a whole neighborhood.
Yeah, you
without.
would just have as many teachers as you need to work in your child care centers or in your homes. I think too we would likely have a combination of like philanthropy, research, business community, hospitals, food banks, K-12 schools. There'd be such a partnership between us and all of the entities that touch families that like no one would, like everyone would come see us because they'd be like, how'd you do that? And then I think too, we'd be able to serve families like either through resource centers or some manner. We'd serve families for anything that they needed. They needed housing, we got you. You needed to enroll in Medicare, we got you. You need a nutrition program, we got it. Something we're working on now, actually, that I would love to be able to do. Like, you need to enroll your kids in the Cal Kids program, which is like Scholar Share. We can do that too. It wouldn't matter. One-stop shop with us.
Yep.
And because of the partnerships and the relationships that we have throughout the county, we'd make sure that you were taken care of. And it doesn't matter what language you speak. It don't matter where you came from in the world to relocate in Sacramento County. We'll serve you. For us, it doesn't matter.
I love that visual. That was a great all-around envelopment of families and children from birth to 13 to be taken care of.
Yeah.
So good. Now it's back to reality.
Right.
What is your greatest need today?
Yeah.
What would you say? Here's our biggest challenge.
I think our biggest challenge is having, well, let me break it down like this. The biggest challenge is about visibility. I think that not enough families know who we are, not enough potential partners know who we are. The university systems are just getting to know who we are. The school districts don't know who we are. I think it's about visibility. It's about knowledge. It's about our community understanding that we're a resource. And so, and that's what we're actually working on, right? Like, that's why you and I are talking.
Yeah. Well, and what's
right?
beautiful about that, this is not saying, oh, God, we need a bunch of money. And understandably, a lot of organizations do. Money, they're funded differently. Yours is you've got the program.
Right.
And the program exists, and it's making people aware of the program to take advantage of the program to the benefit of their families.
Yep.
And to the workforce, to the community.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. Obviously, we need resources.
It's not that it's not.
That's always the case. But even with that, like, when it comes to resources, I'd say this is everyone has a stake in it, right? Our local government, our local community can't just act like the state's going to take care of it. They're not. They're not. So, our local government officials, our elected officials, they need to recognize, our city council members, they need to recognize that there's a vested interest in investing in childcare, right? And it could look like a variety of different things, but it's about coming to the table with ideas, being true collaborative partners with us, and looking at how we can solve a variety of the problems around affordability and access. There's a lot of research on what that can look like, and the reality is like, let's get to the table and figure out what that looks like.
And the beauty of this is an integration piece.
Right.
This is the ability for you, your team, and your people to get out, and for the community at large, all the organizations that need to be aware, to simply listen.
Yeah.
And that's a lot easier than saying, I need $100,000.
Right.
Or
I mean, I do need $100,000.
Agreed. But you wanted this leadership role. You said, I want to do it. Now
I want to do it, and that
here
means
you are.
that we have to solve some problems a lot of different ways, and sometimes folks are not going to give us $100,000 because they don't trust us yet. But we'll build that trust.
You're on the treadmill now. I know that. You're running because you're all over the place. Tell us, what's the best way to find out more about the organization and about the services?
So I would say there's a couple of different ways. First and foremost, you can always go to our website, right?
Which,
That has
by the way, I
our...
was blown away by. It is so comprehensive,
Yeah, it's...
which it maybe is even overwhelming in some cases.
Right.
But the fact that I saw it, and then I saw it in multiple languages.
Yes. Yeah.
And I mean multiples, like 5, 6 different languages in script.
Right, right.
Which is got to be so comforting for somebody who's new to the country.
Exactly.
Who's looking for that, that sort of service.
And what's interesting about it is we're actually redesigning our website right now as you speak.
Well,
So
the good news is for people who go there in the next month, 2 months, whatever
Right.
it is, they're going to get a new experience.
Yeah, they sure will.
But please
sure
don't
will.
wait. If you need childcare or services, what is the URL again?
It's childaction.org.
Okay.
Yeah.
So childaction.org to the website.
To the website. And then, of course, you can always, unfortunately, I don't have our number in front of me, but it's on our website.
I'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah. Our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, those are probably our two biggest. LinkedIn, either you're following me or Child Action LinkedIn page. We're on X. We've got all the social media. And matter of fact, and I would see what you're going to see a lot more in the next couple of months, because again, we're talking about visibility. You're just going to see a completely different shift in how we engage our community through social media, through storytelling, YouTube. You'll see a lot of growth in that. You know, we've just built our communications teams out a lot because we're being very purposeful and on just really building them what that looks like. My goal is to make us as visible as possible.
When I can see those young parents, more likely than not, that's a place they're going to be hanging out.
Right.
And so let's catch them where they are so they're aware that this opportunity exists. You can have your child care subsidized because we know it's expensive. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Which is wonderful.
And it's also, I mean, we're really developing different partnerships with different organizations. And so, you know, if you're an organization or a nonprofit company that serves a certain clientele, I'm going to challenge you to reach out to us. We can find ways to, if you're serving a clientele that meets our qualification and eligibility, we find ways to get folks enrolled. Are there challenges? Of course there are. Like, do I have enough staff? No, I don't have enough staff. But as I tell my team, I'd rather folks be knocking on the door and ringing the phones off the hook. I'd rather have that problem.
Yes.
I don't mind having that problem, and we can build in the capacity to be able to serve families the best that we can. So, does it take a minute sometimes? Yeah, it does. But that's not the way it's always going to be, because we're going to build out our team to serve the entire region if we can.
And I'll post those social handles on the show notes as well.
I would love that.
So that when anybody goes, they can just find it right there.
Yeah, perfect.
And the website, like I said, is really as comprehensive as it is today. I'm sure the new one will make it even more navigable.
Yes, it won't be as complex. And it's our current website's a little complex sometimes, but believe me, there's going to be some ease of use coming very soon.
Good. Adonai, I thank you for helping us recognize the incredible support that's out there for both families in need of childcare, for businesses looking for employees that in some cases need childcare, for our schools, because that's important that they understand that there's a pass-through, that this moves in the right direction. So you're talking to the right places, and we just got to get you to talking to more of them. And I think your plea there with other nonprofits and other organizations to engage with you is really valid, because there's so much more that can be done if people know.
Right.
And looping people into the system is what it's really all about. Hopefully we're going to be a part of that. So while you're a large agency, it's amazing to me that so much still exists in terms of the opportunity and the headroom that we have in Sacramento. And as we continue to grow, you're always going to be chasing it to some degree.
Yeah, right.
So that's another plus. Well, I applaud your interest in committing to taking Child Action to another level of awareness and integration in the community, to your team, all 230 to 250 to 280 to 300 probably the next time we talk.
Right.
That, what you're doing is so important in the benefit of what we do.
I appreciate it.
So thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Hey, it was great talking to you today. This was fun. I feel like we should do this more often.
Well, we'll get you looped into some of the other organizations. That I
Oh,
promise.
I would love to. I would love to. Thank you very much for having me, and I look forward to us working together in the future.
Our pleasure.
All right, thanks.
Thank you for listening to the Nonprofit Podcast Network. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If what you heard moved you, please reach out to that organization and do what you can to help. If you like and appreciate what we're doing to support local nonprofits, please give us a positive review, subscribe, and share. If you're a nonprofit with an interest in participating in an episode, you can reach me at jeff@hearmenowstudio.com. If you have a need for the services or products our sponsors offer, please reach out to them. CapTrust, fiduciary advice for endowments and foundations. Runyon Saltzman Incorporated, RSC, marketing, advertising, and public relations, creating integrated communications committed to improving lives. And Western Health Advantage, a full-service healthcare plan for individuals, employer groups, and families. The Nonprofit Podcast Network is a production of, is recorded at, and edited by Hear Me Now Studio.